Welcome back to the Black Label Mindset. I'm joined tonight by women's health coach, mindset coach, life coach, and hypnotherapist, and a fantastic human, Jenna Patterson. Jenna, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast tonight. I'm so excited to dive down this conversation and topic of women's health with you. To get the wheels turning, can I throw the ball over to you? Can you spend a minute or two sharing your personal story on what has gotten you to this stage in your life, your career, and the type of people you work with, and what you want to get out of your career in this industry?
So, first of all, I want to say how cool this is and amazing that I am sitting here with you. That's the first thing I want to say. We've known each other for a very long time, and I'm super excited to do this right now.
Well, it's lovely to have you here. Thank you for joining us. And I want to preface before we go any further by saying Jenna has made her way down from Port Macquarie through floods and hails and just to be here with us tonight. So I'm very grateful that you've made this trip and was flattered that you reached out and wanted to be on the podcast. So I'm so excited to dive down this with you. So thank you. So take it away. Tell us who you are and what sparked the passion for you to pursue this.
Okay, so right now I am a hypnotherapist. What that means is that I help women through menstrual pain and trauma. So what I want to do and my goal with everything is to help women find empowerment, but also find peace and love with their menstrual cycle. My history though is I started this journey when I was 7, only realizing that in the last couple of years. But the biggest journey started when I was in high school. And then as I grew and when I was 16, I lost my brother. That was a big hit for me and woke me up. And then from there, a few years figuring myself out, get to 28, and my life starts to really change. I start to really look at myself and how I'm living my life and the type of people in my life. And since then, I became a Muay Thai fitness coach, which I loved, training women. Really, really, really loved that. But unfortunately, I injured myself after a couple of years. But that injury changed everything again for me with my mental health. And then from that, I began to study postural therapy, how we fix our bodies. And from that, I did Paul Chek, if you know him. He's an amazing man around fitness and health and all aspects, mental, physical, and everything. So I studied that. And then I actually started to study even more. So chronic pain, everything I did at the beginning, I was searching for something amazing to help people with. From that, I still had my knee injury. So I had studied a lot. I tried to figure out a lot of things, but I was still in pain. So I studied psychosomatic postural therapy. And through that, I discovered exactly why I had knee pain. And it had nothing to do with my body. It had purely to do with my mind. So that was my first step to realizing how empowered our minds are and how much control it can put on our bodies and when we have injuries. From that, I then found this next thing that I'm doing now. So I'm a hypnotherapist. I studied that for a very long time. I've done a lot of courses, and I'm just so excited to show women how much they can change their life by having these steps of mental therapy. Physically, emotionally, who you attract in your life. I've done all the work, and I'm just loving helping women and so excited for the next best things that I've got planned.
Yeah, awesome. So as you know, and as our listeners know, the point of this podcast is very much around mindset. So it's so fantastic that as a mindset coach to be sitting across another form of mindset coach to talk about this sort of stuff. And I want to start things off today by asking, in your mind, I'm really excited to hear your answer with this. What does mindset around women's health mean to you?
It means for women to be able to be strong in what they want, but with respect. So a lot of women get very masculine, very ego because they're trying to protect themselves from whatever that is. And even in a gym as well, if I'm very honest, there's this whole part of me when I was young, where I was extremely masculine and I had to be tough. And being in Muay Thai was one of those things. I suffered from a lot of different abuses, not from family or anything like that, but from men. And I found myself extremely dominant, very guarded, and just wanted to prove that I was strong. And when I started Muay Thai, that made me feel even stronger. So I got worse. And I think what's really important is for women to have the vulnerability and the strength.
Yeah.
And not be totally just absorbed in one or the other. That's what's important, and that's what I want to help women do.
Yeah, fantastic. Why do you think there is that misunderstanding and disconnect between that masculine and feminine energy from women? You talk specifically about a gym setting, which is obviously something that we can relate to, but I suppose more diving down the rabbit hole here, certainly as a innocent but naive male when it comes to females' hormones and hormonal health.
Yeah.
Where is the disconnect there between women's training, hormonal health, and the misunderstandings between the masculine and feminine energy of trying to be, this tough person with this facade, but deep down actually wanting to be feminine and attract those sorts of traits. So where's the misunderstanding and missing link in the chain come in there? More so with in relation to women's hormones and how that all sort of unfolds.
I think the missing link is just that there's no awareness. Men don't know about women's cycles. Women do not know about their cycles.
Yeah.
And we need to get clear because we're expected to work at a level as the same as men. And, I don't want to go into that too much because I believe that there is equal to everything. But we get, every month, we have these pains, we have so many changes, but we're expected to push and push and push, even on our days that we are very debilitated and tired.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's a problem or it's someone's fault, it's just there's no awareness and we can't talk about it freely. That's the most thing I want to do, is help women to just be able to say, I'm on my menstrual cycle today, please just be nice.
Yep.
I don't know, yeah.
You raised such a critical point, and what I'm hoping from today's episode and to our listeners is that this can be a little bit of a platform to help that awareness.
Yes.
And again, also educate innocent but naive men on the subject. And the one thing that I did want to touch on leading into this for today's episode is how does the menstrual cycle affect your energy, your ability to recover, your specifically we'll just for this second stick with a gym setting. Everyone's got their own exercise routines and like lifting weights and likes going to the gym.
Yeah.
How does that impact your schedule when it is your menstrual cycle and the energy and performance and even just mental architecture to just to stay focused on what you're doing affect your day to day?
I think as you get older, you realize more and more how important it is to change your fitness routine based, one, on the age you are, and two, where you're at with your menstrual cycle or premenopause or menopause, whatever you want it to be, even pregnancy. So from day one, which is considered the first day of your period, you will have up to 6 days of your period. And in that time, we should just be chilling. Easy walks, slow yoga, exercise slow. Mentally, you're getting pretty good. So the mental part starts to get better around that time. 6 to 14 days, you're on a high. You want to do as heavy weights as possible. You're motivated. You're so clear in your mind. Everything feels like it's going incredibly well. And I'm not talking for every single woman. Some women don't have any symptoms. Some women are just incredible women and they just don't suffer. But me, being one, I know the other side of the world. But then you start to hit day 16, day 18, and things start to change. Your body starts to fill up with fluid. You start to mentally question yourself. Some women get extremely anxious, you can get depression just for a few days. And as we all know, we call this PMS. There is a next symptom of PMDD, and that's much worse. A lot of women don't realize they have that, and that's definitely need to see a medical practitioner for that. But then what you do is at the very end, women seem to beat themselves up and they think, oh, I don't want to go to the gym today. I don't want to do this. Why do I have to? And they go to the gym. Maybe you've experienced this yourself. This woman was amazing a week ago and now all of a sudden she's got no energy. And that's purely just the way it is. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with that woman. And that's what women do. We beat ourselves up because I train with my partner and every day of the week, of the month, he's got energy. He's lifting weights heavy. And sometimes I just do not want to do it. I cannot do it. My physical body will not let me. So I find that the best way to be kind to yourself and work through your cycle is understanding week by week where you are in your phase, where you're at, and just having an appreciation for that and start to love your cycle instead of the complete opposite and hating it, which is what I was doing for a very long time.
By the way that you're phrasing it, it almost feels like there's a sort of a guilt associated and a sort of a judgment of, I've got to handle this separately or whatever. How can you move away from that, leading a little bit into the mindset side of things?
Yeah.
Like everyone's going to have days where they're feeling up, they're feeling down and on the cycle. How can you assess where you're at and distance yourself from the
guilt?
Yeah.
Of not wanting to go in.
Like feeling shit about just being a woman. Like that's from a male perspective, that's a horrible place to be. And just shining awareness on that, I can already tell from a lot of my male listeners already will be like, that's really shit. Like that's not fair.
Yeah. It's hard. So I'll be honest right now, I'm in my menstrual cycle and the whole last week I have not been to the gym. So I've definitely been struggling a bit this week.
Okay, cool. So a critical point of this is the week to have off.
Yes.
This is the week to train. This is the time to live. Okay, cool.
Next week, I can't wait. I'm going to be lifting weights, going hard with my partner. So,
cool.
And I know that. So I'm aware of my cycle. I always get my cycle, the day one starts on the full moon. I know that. I'm in sync that much, but that's because I have learned that. Over time. Some women don't even know when their cycles are coming. Some women don't even get cycles every month and they don't even realize. So we can talk about that later. But it's the mindset around taking off the guilt. An amazing app is one, Flow, which is an amazing app for women and your partner. So you can link your partner to your woman's cycle. And what that will do is tell your partner where you're at in your cycle. If he wants to get on board, it supports him as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because then he knows, she's in PMS week.
Cool.
And
that helps everyone in that situation.
Everyone.
That's a really...
So it's been really good with me and my partner.
Yeah.
Because he knows and he will ask me, baby, is there anything you need today?
I think it's an opportunity for both parties in that relationship
it's really
to be considerate of one another. That's a really...
And like to have that open conversation with your partner is hard, but it's really cool. So for me, with the gym, I just now know. I have no guilt. I know that there is nothing wrong with not going to the gym this week. And some cycles I'm fine. Some I can go and just take it really easy. But this one's just been a little bit harder. So I've just been going for really nice nature walks. I did yoga yesterday. I meditate a lot. So that's been a journey for me. Like I said, when I did this 10 years ago, this wasn't me.
Can I ask a question about sleep patterns and recovery?
Exactly.
How is that impacted?
So it's the exact same week. So this week that I've just been in, so the last week, basically, you've 21 to 28 days. If you have a 28-day cycle, some women have up to 40 days. But for me, in my cycle, I have bad sleep. I can't think straight. I question myself. I'm bloated. Everything is swollen. And I don't exercise as much. I sleep more because I have not slept well during the night. So you wake up multiple times during the night. And this is normal for most women, but it doesn't have to be. There's many things we can do to change that. But with that app, you can talk to your partner, but you can also, just for yourself, where you're at, because so many women don't know where their cycle is. Yeah. So they actually don't know when they're ovulating or when they're on day 14 or day 21 or 28 or 30, 40. So this app helps you understand where you're at because you'll put your symptoms in it every day, and it can help you determine what time frame you are, which then in turn helps you your fitness goals. Because if you train when you are in this week, my week, menstrual cycle, you're actually depleting yourself. So you're actually not going to burn fat. It's just not going to work. Your body will go into stress mode. So I've actually lost weight from training less. So it's not about like training less. It's just be smart with when you train.
Yeah, right.
So in my good week, I train very hard.
Yeah, okay.
Even in the second week.
As far as you touched on women not fully even understanding themselves. I mean, that in itself is a minefield. And I think obviously as a male, on the other side of that, if some of the ladies don't even understand, then for us, we have zero chance.
Yeah.
But, you know, I guess talking about the app, how would you advise the guys to approach that? What is the, because you touched on it's a difficult conversation to have. And as a guy, if you don't know your own body, how the hell am I going to figure it out?
100%.
So how would you advise the guys to approach that subject, which for some women can be either sensitive or they might just have that, again, innocent naivety of I just kind of have fallen into this pattern and this is my life now. So how would we approach that? Can you shine a light on for the guys?
The one thing I want to say is the stigma around PMS. So I think the one thing men can do is change their mindset, literally, about PMS. She's all right, she's got PMS this week. That shove off is just, that makes women shut down. That makes us not want to talk.
It's very dismissive.
Yeah, and even women do it, yeah? It's not just about what men do. Like, women say that about themselves. Like, it's not just that. But if that was going to be one way to do that, I think a lot of men on here, if you were to listen and think, actually, I really would like to know more, they could even suggest to their partner, hey, have you heard of this Flow app? So I don't know how many men are going to be listening, but, you know, it's definitely... It's a two-way street.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to the fact that the men don't want our partners suffering. You know, that's
and do
not.
you want to suffer?
Absolutely
that's
not. But
if you know, you don't.
That sort of, I guess, masculine view on things, that masculine energy of there would still be that naivety of the mechanics of the cycle, but certainly from our side of things, we definitely don't want to know that you're suffering. And if you're suffering, then we're suffering. Yeah. So just by simply having a conversation. On that, though, you touch about, there's definitely something that guys do, which isn't cool, is that dismissive sort of, she's on a period again. The flip side of that coin as well, I'm so appreciative that you touched on that, is the women that do this. Do you think that women use it as an excuse for things? Like as
100%.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
I do. Good question. I used to. So this is a big thing around why I want to help women with menstrual pain. I suffered from it for years, and when I did a lot of therapy, I discovered that I had the pain because I liked the attention. So that was a really big eye opener for me. That was about 6 months ago that I actually discovered that. And I went, oh my gosh, this makes total sense. Because I used to be really sick when I was 16 or even earlier. My mum would come and pick me up from my boyfriend's house and we'd go to hospital. And I just wanted it. That was when I felt love from anyone, was when I was sick. And that's, again, something really big in the therapy that I do with anyone, is finding those ticks. And I just cannot believe how much I've changed just from that one eye-opening thing. I've had many since, but that was one big one. So
wow.
So I guess to your question is, we don't consciously realize what we're doing. Like many things in life, we don't realize when we make that comment how that's going to affect somebody else or how that stigma is going to be created. But it definitely, I resonate with that a lot.
You raised such a good point, and certainly from a point of being in a relationship, from the male perspective, that is a tricky one to navigate because, if in any sort of relationship, there is that, well, I'm on my period, that's the end of it.
Yeah.
It is kind of just
Yeah.
the end of the
And
argument.
that's not, it's not.
Oh, okay, well, that's the end of it. Then I'll just, it is what it is. And again, it comes back to that, as a man, you don't want to know that your partner is suffering. But there is certainly that energy exchange of...
It's also women owning that, like, they don't, I'm on my period, leave me alone. It's like, actually, I just don't feel good right now. Honey, baby, whatever you want to call your partner, can you just be nice to me today? It's just changing the language, changing how we communicate about, it's same for men. Like, if your man's not having a good day, it's not about I'm fine, leave me alone. That stuff's what creates the toxicity in a relationship.
Following on from that, what advice do you have for women who are on their cycle and feel like they're, and I'm going to use this in quotation marks for everyone listening online, falling behind with their training routine when they are on their cycle?
If you want to go to the gym, there is nothing wrong with that. But actually something I want to say is tell your coach. I go to the gym, and if I'm not pushing like I was the week before and they go, come on, Jenna, go harder, I'll say, I'm on my cycle. So that's where I think we need to change. Now, that's big to go to that, and I understand that's going to take time, but I would love to see that happen in fitness world.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up, because the community that we've culminated here at Black Label, there is that dynamic, and there is that dialogue where some of our female members do let that known, and then we know straight away, cool, you're not going to be doing any records today. That's okay. Yeah, so happy you're here. Yeah. Tick the boxes. Yeah. Have a good day.
If you can get out of bed, your day is normal. You just have a little bit of pain, and you're just a bit swollen, but you feel like you can still move, because it's actually very good for you to move. You want to get out and warm your body up. So there is nothing wrong with going to the gym. It's just about how you approach that session, how you exercise in that session. So for me, if I go, I just make sure, because I love going to the gym. I like exercising. It helps me with my endorphins. It makes me feel good. I focus better. There's obviously 1,000 benefits to exercising. It's just how you do it in what time of the month. I like that you said that about the gym. I think that is fantastic, that there is that little bit of comfortableness between the community and the team to be able to come in here knowing that they're in a safe space. There are so many gyms that are not like that sort of style, and that's where I'm talking about. Those women that are going to those gyms, that's where it needs to change. So tell me why, for here, what it is you think that women are more comfortable here. What is it that the gym or yourself or anyone, is it the women that are just coming to this gym, or how do you think, in your opinion, that we could work better in other gyms, just like here?
That is a phenomenal question. And there was a compliment in there somewhere about our gym, so thank you for that. There is definitely something. I've been involved with a lot of gyms, a lot of health spaces where, that you can't pussyfoot around it. Women's cycles is a part of training. It's part of women's life. And if you're going to have women in a gym, it's something that you need to address.
Yes.
I'm biased because this place, there is something special here.
Yeah.
And the community of people that train here are like none other than I've experienced. Yeah. And it's such a privilege to be a part of them.
Yeah.
So there is very much that community sense of zero judgment associated with it. There is openness around it. Now, obviously not all people are, some people are very, very personal and don't feel the need to share that, which is totally fine. But I think there is definitely the sense between all of our coaches here that we can be approached and we can be told, it's my time of the cycle, I'm not feeling well. That happens pretty regularly. A lot of ladies here have said that to not even myself included, but the other coaches, and it just gives us that insight again of, cool, we know not to push too hard, or we happy you're here. Let's have a great session. So the community that you culminate as a gym owner and a gym manager plays a huge role. The word that I'm going to use there is trust.
Yeah.
And it's clients feeling that sense of trust and faith in the people behind the scenes, that they're not going to be judged and they're not going to be, their concerns are going to be validated, that it's not something that's just like, I'll deal with it, shut up, get on with it.
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah,
so in a lot of gyms, they're like, even in the female gym I was working in.
Wow, that shocks me, really.
Yeah,
wow,
it was spoken about, but still you wouldn't have, I would walk up to women because I would notice that they weren't themselves. And usually like the week before they were fine. So a lot of the time I would be approaching.
And it wouldn't be, even in a female gym, it wouldn't be discussed in that way.
No.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. This needs to start with women. We don't need to all become activists and be like, women suffer from menstrual pain. But it's like, it's just like owning it. It's like, oh yeah, I've sprained my ankle. It should just be the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't matter if we are having our menstrual cycle. That's what, I don't want to, like go all like woo hippie on anyone. It's just about being authentic. We are women.
I think if it's a part of your monthly biology for you as a human, it should be a little bit more openly discussed rather than
it doesn't
brushed
need
under the rug.
details. We don't need to talk about the details if you don't want to, but hey, own it. Like I work, I've worked in the corporate world for 15 years. I mean, I've been a coach and I've studied relentlessly and had many people I've helped, but I worked in that world for a long time and I was sick almost every month. I would take a sick day because I was not well. I could not tell my boss. And that's nothing against him. That's nothing against men or anyone in general. It's just, it's not spoken about in the corporate world. And that's something I really want to change a lot. I'm really passionate about that for corporate women, high achieving women, business women, entrepreneurs. Like it is okay, like that we have this. It's okay. And all we have to do is work on our mental health to be okay with that. There's a lot of shame, there's a lot of guilt, there's a lot of guarding, there's a lot of protection in all of that, which I have learnt personally myself. And it's just the same in a gym. We should be able to walk in and be like, hey, it's my week. And that's all you have to say. It's not like, oh, I'm in so much pain, I'm suffering. It's just like, yep, cool, love ya, do your thing. Just roll on the bike or, just push like half the weight. If you want to do weights, do half the weight. If that's what feels good for you, at least you're still doing it.
Well, it seems to be, certainly in this building, a very organic conversation. And there are moments where, I mean, obviously, and this is where I think people can misinterpret the coach's intentions, because it is at the end of the day our job to push. To motivate and excite.
Yeah,
exactly. Come on, let's fight, let's go. What the hell's going on?
I can relate to that.
So of course. Yeah. Like, and this is where people need to very respectfully pull back a little bit, because that's actually what you're paying us for.
Yeah.
So just to simply say, and this is in the context that's happened in this building, is because all of our coaches bring something very different to the table. And I'm very much the energy guy. Like, come on, let's go, hurry up, lift weight. And we have a bit of fun with it, And there's that lovely fun side of mocking, like, oh, that's the weight you're lifting today, is it? Oh, okay. It's in those moments that some of the female members here will say, I'm on my cycle. Oh, sweet. Well, I'm happy to have you here. So it has been this very natural, organic
and
thing.
That's exactly what, Adam, that's exactly what it needs to be like.
Well, I think the work that you're doing on this is going to really open a few doors and shine some awareness onto it. The thing that I want to, explore with you now, following on from that, is leading into later life, into menopause, and the training and mindset and hormones around that.
Yeah, so I'm in my late 30s and I'm starting to become more aware of that as I get older. I've watched many older people than me go through that, watching a couple people at the moment. And the biggest thing is like, it's a daily change. It's not like a monthly change. When you're going through perimenopause and then menopause, it's a slow burn. It doesn't just turn into something the next day. It can take years and years and years. So it's kind of like owning that, but in yourself, like being okay with that in yourself. And again, that takes work. If you don't love yourself enough and have enough confidence in yourself and know that you're okay, then that's what makes it harder. Because perimenopause, you get brain fog, you get swollen, you get lazy, you don't have energy. Your life can completely change in perimenopause mentally, because you go, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? And suddenly you change everything. Sometimes that's when women actually start exercising. They have never exercised their whole life. They're overweight or whatever it is. And that's when they actually find health, because they don't want to feel like they're feeling anymore. They want to look into how they can change it.
We certainly see that quite frequently here.
Yeah.
A big percentage of our incoming clients
Yeah.
are wonderful women who are in that stage of life.
Yeah.
And more often than not, sometimes this is the first gym they've ever been into.
Yeah, exactly.
And the weights training always comes as a shock to them.
Yeah.
And I preach this to anyone that will listen. Lift something heavy 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah,
And
I'm very, very passionate about that now.
Yeah.
I wasn't. It was all about kicking and boxing.
especially women.
As you get older,
Especially
your bones
women.
decay.
You took the words right out of my mouth. And the big thing that really needs some awareness on it around menopause and that midlife stage for women going through that difficult transition is lift some freaking weights.
Yeah.
The
Cardio,
science is undisputed. This is a really big thing at the minute. Michelle Bridges is doing some fantastic things with this. And
she would be going through it.
Yeah, she is. She's
Yeah.
right now. We had a couple of fabulous clients go and do it. Michelle was one of them, who went and saw her speak at the Opera House, and she spoke largely about it. And I had the privilege of doing a few things with Michelle Bridges, and this movement is becoming a lot more prominent.
Yeah.
And someone like Michelle Bridges to spearhead it, I think, is only a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And
100%.
it's something I feel very passionate about here, because we do get a lot. No, it's not our biggest percentage. You know, we're very general pop, but
the demographic here as well.
Yeah, the demographic in the Northern Beaches.
Mums with parents,
Absolutely.
and now they're finally, their kids
In
are
that
growing
stage,
up and
yep.
they're ready to look after themselves.
Yep, that's exactly
That's
right.
literally what
That's
it is.
exactly right. And you know, the science is absolutely undisputed, and not only for muscle mass, but lifting weights actually helps manage those hormones.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
And, this is something that I actually am hoping you can shine light on and explore, because obviously, this being your field of expertise, shine some light on that for us around one of the things that, and I'm sure that you've worked with people like this, is, you know, people, we get some lovely ladies that come in, and you touched on it earlier about this first time they come and do something like this.
Yeah.
In that false sense of security in themselves of, I exercise all the time. And when the question, okay, what do you do? Well, I do Pilates twice a month and I walk the dog.
Yeah.
No, I mean exercise. Yeah, I just told you. It's this thing of like, there's sort of an education of, even more so that generational,
that generation
sort of demographic, if you will, is tends to dig their heels in a little bit.
Yeah.
There's one client in particular here, Sarah, who's doing absolutely fantastic things, you know, and she's in the later stages of that, but she's lost 35 kilos. She's stronger than ever. She's fitter than ever. The other day we had a team session here where she brought her 30-year-old son, and she was pushing him on the sled. He was sitting on the sled, and this 60-year-old lady is just killing it. So the reason I bring her up actually isn't to brag about what we're doing. It's because I'm so proud of what we're doing with women like that. And, you know, it's really interesting because someone like Sarah, who first came in and was terrified, like, lifting weights, I don't want to do that. I walk around the block, that's it. Who is now, you know, drunk the Kool-Aid, if you will, and gone, oh shit, no, this is what I've been missing. So can you shine some more light on that? Are there people that you work with or people in your personal life that you can relate to that? And what advice do you have as the expert for these women to get them through the door and across the line to find a better, healthier version of themselves?
So I guess the first thing I want to say is, if they walk their dog every day and they are walking 10,000 steps, go you. But you need weights. At that age, we need to be doing something more than just walking, because our bodies, our bones will start to break down. In a mental state, a lot of women around that age will actually start to want to come in because they want to change their life. And the other mindset is, I'm getting old, it's too late now. Yes. That's where we need to change the talk. Some people don't become entrepreneurs and business people until they're in their 60s and 70s. You do not need...
Preach.
You do
Preach,
not... There's nothing about age. For me, I'm 36 and I'm really starting my life in the last year. Yeah. So fitness is not just about exercising. It's about how it will completely transform everything that you do. I'm a big believer. If I don't go to the gym, I have to make sure I do something. I cannot sit on my bum for 10 hours. I don't even have a TV in my home, so I don't even watch TV. But you your mindset, you first have to want it. And then you have to create the habit. So it's all good just saying, oh, I really should do this. But unless you actually want it and need it, it's just so hard to get yourself in there. And the scariest part is most people in their 50s and 60s, they will go when they're starting to get blood pressure issues, or their heart's going, or they're having organ problems, or they're too overweight. But the thing we need to change is, do you want a fulfilling life? You're only halfway through your life, so why not enjoy it? Why not be able to travel the world, do whatever you want? You've had your kids, they're now growing up. Like, there is no reason not to get off your bum and get into exercising, whatever that is. It doesn't have to be in this amazing gym. It can be
Jenna, I'm so
in any
passionate
other way.
about this subject. I'm so grateful you bring this up, because this leads into so many things that need to be addressed. And, for our women listening, it's important to flag this. Women 50 and older will lose 1% of their muscle mass every year for the rest of their life. Now, that's actually not the scary statistic on that. The scary statistic is you will lose 2 to 4% of your strength every year. That is where things like osteo come into effect. The only way to prevent that is by lifting weights consistently. You touched on, the walk around the block, 10,000 steps. My God, that would be amazing. But I think the reality is a lot of them aren't. It's that I do the Pilates twice a month and that's enough. But that's not doing anything to put the muscle under that tension or that load of lifting weights. Something that you flagged that I really want to highlight very quickly, because I hear this a bit, and something that I do in my seminars here that is quite controversial and rattles the crowd a little bit, is when people say, I'm too old for that. I can't stand it.
Kills me.
I can't stand it, because the viewpoint that I have as a motivational speaker and coach is I do a little bit of reverse psychology with it. And I've done this a few times in my seminars in a crowd. It is quite controversial. And at the point that I do it, I lose the crowd a little bit. But when they understand where I'm going with it, they all buy in. Someone will say something along the lines of, I'm too old. And I use reverse psychology against them. I simply agree with them.
I actually really love that, Adam. That's amazing.
All I'm doing is it's basic psychology. I'm just mirroring.
Because what they actually want you to say.
No, you can do this.
Exactly.
You can do this.
Yeah.
And I lose the crowd a little bit because it looks a little bit aggressive, but that's the point of the exercise. Yeah. But it is powerful because you get these people saying, I'm too old to do this. I'm like, yeah, you are. You shouldn't have come tonight. You're too old for this. Yeah. You're too frail. I couldn't do that. I don't have the skills for that. I'm a bad mother. I'm a bad father. Yes, you are. You should feel really bad about that. And it's really interesting watching them change because they paradoxically turn the conversation back around. No, I'm not. I'm a good parent. I'm not too old. I can do this. And you see that the psychology, they themselves turn themselves around.
Do you do something though after to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't want to give away all my secrets.
I just had to ask that question because being a therapist, I can tell you saying those things.
Yeah, it can be very. No. Don't worry. There's a bit of psychology work here. It's not just picking
as long as you reaffirm.
It's not just picking on people for the sake of it. And to dive down the rabbit hole a little bit to expand on it. The whole point is, if you're walking down a dark alley and out of nowhere someone grabs you, what do?
It's my worst nightmare.
For most people,
I'm going to kick them straight where they don't want it.
You're going to fight, you're going to scream, you're going to scratch.
And that's exactly why I became a Muay Thai fighter.
Absolutely. Yes. You want that ability to protect yourself physically.
Yes.
Everyone on the planet will do that. They'll fight back physically if someone's trying to physically hurt them.
Yeah.
It's so interesting though. Yeah. It's so interesting though, but psychologically, people don't fight back. People will say, if you were to say to someone, we let anyone in at any time.
Of course.
We let anyone in and abuse us at any time. Just think about just marketers alone. All the ad people spitting messages at us. We just let anyone in. Oh, yep, you can rattle all the cages around that you want. The point that we go down, and I want to stay on point and not lose thread of the conversation, but very quickly, the point that we go down to provide peace of mind is that you have the ability to change your perspective of things in an instant. And there needs to be that very clear association between protecting yourself physically like anyone would and also protecting yourself psychologically.
Yeah.
So we go down a couple of things and there's a few exercises that we do, which is very powerful. And it's a night that people leave pretty transformed. It's very immersive. But yeah, no, rest assured that it's not, we're not just bullying people, I promise.
Yeah, as long as they walk out with a positive twist. So that's all I care about.
Absolutely do. It's a very transformative night.
Yeah.
And we're very proud with what we do with that, because the entire evening is really been cultivated from A through to Z to make sure that the journey for everyone psychologically and emotionally, it's a powerful night. And to come back to this point of I'm too old, more often than not, a lot of those people then not only sign up, and the member, like I spoke earlier, Sarah, was over the hill and couldn't do it, and okay, really, is that the case? Who's now 35 kilos later, who just finished a fun run,
I mean, my mum's amazing. She lives on a farm, and every time I go there, she wants to learn weights. She's 75 years old, and she might not do a lot of it. Where she lives, there is no gym. She can't get to one, but she would go if it existed. But she lifts a lot of stuff in the farm.
Yep.
Like my mum's bone strength, and she actually has weak bones. So she needs to lift. So by her moving so much, lifting, mowing, moving around, chickens, dogs, everything they have, she's keeping herself strong. But a lot of people in this environment, in cities, they just sit at home. My mum, I know she's totally fine because she's lifting all the time. But for many, they don't do anything. They even have vacuums that are, a
do
robot.
Itself. Yeah.
It's getting worse and worse and worse. We are sitting down more and more, and we need to start moving.
It's definitely that generation, that demographic of people in their 50s and older. And interestingly enough, in the other episode of our podcast with Andy Kong, who spoke on corporate execs who were starting businesses in their 60s, who were becoming multimillionaires and these incredibly successful people well later into life. So this mindset of I'm too old, or I can't do that, or I don't know if I'd be in the right environment there.
Never too late.
It's never too late.
There's some people that are really sick, and that's what gets them in, and they start and their lives completely transform. My motto is, let's avoid that whole thing and start way before you start getting sick.
Prevention's better than a cure.
Yeah, always.
If you do want to check out the episode with Andy Kong, where we talk about the wealthiest and most successful 1% of Australians, check out the link below in the description. Are there any red flags that women in their late 30s and 50s in that age bracket should look out for when it comes to their hormonal health? Like any warning signs that they should be aware of to know this is a clear point in time that I should focus on training or my mindset or my hormonal health or anything that relates to leading into later part of life?
Every woman is completely different, but the biggest things is brain fog. I know that going into perimenopause is brain fog. So you're forgetting things, brain fog, concentration. That's one of the first things that kick in. From that, you then end up beating yourself up, guilt. A lot of emotional stuff comes up in that time because you start not to be clear about who you are and what you are. You're used to having this cycle. Your cycle does not stop straight away. It takes time. Some women it can, but usually it's they start getting it every 2 months and then 3 months and then 6 months and then eventually it's faded out. I think the biggest thing, and I'm not in perimenopause yet, obviously, so I don't know what it feels like, but by experience of what I've seen, it's that brain fog, the hot sweats. My mum was just so bad, sweating all the time, so I'm really ready for that. But there's different symptoms for every woman.
I don't want to dive down the rabbit hole too much of nutrition, but something that I do want to just quickly flag and ask you about is alcohol in relation to this. Does alcohol have a more significant effect?
So I'm not a nutritionist, but I have learned so much about nutrition, alcohol, water, everything from my own experience and all the professionals that I've had help me. I'm extremely healthy in the way I eat, the way I sleep, and the way I do not drink alcohol. So I haven't touched it in years. If I'm honest, I did try to have a sip of one 6 months ago, and it did not taste good to me. So I'm completely on the other scale of that now. I literally live off water. I don't have anything else. And I just can't express how much in your menstrual cycle, especially perimenopause and menopause for sure, but in your cycle, especially when you have PMS, you have mood swings, you have so much inflammation in your body already from the swelling, because that's all a natural process. It just should not be so extreme that you cannot move, but it's so normal to have something. And what alcohol does is completely cause, all it is a toxin, and it causes inflammation throughout your body. So if you were to drink it or go out at night, it really can affect how you feel the next day, especially in that phase of your cycle.
Fascinating. As a women's coach, as a life coach, how do you help women of all ages and stages reconnect with their why, their purpose of training, their purpose of women's health?
That is a big question. Okay. You want to find your why because you are not happy. You want to find your why because whatever you're doing doesn't feel right. So what we have to do first is unpack in therapy, and by this I mean literally talking and going through hypnosis, is discovering why you are in that situation and working on that, resolving that, and then find your why, because I cannot tell you how much you will find it when you've worked on yourself.
With the people that you work with, what advice do you give them that they can implement immediately? Something that women can do straight away that helps them improve their relationship with their strength and well-being?
Find a mirror and write something positive about yourself. Some people say, oh my gosh, this is like everyone, they tell everyone to do that. But I cannot tell you how much it can change your mindset. Writing, you've got this on your mirror in the bathroom, or you are enough, or you've got anything you want to do, like anything that you think of that you are the opposite of thinking. Write that on your bloody mirror and read it every single day. You're brushing your teeth or putting your mascara on or whatever it is. Reading it and saying it out loud, I cannot tell you how much that helps.
What practices do you use personally? Not professionally with the people you work with, but personally. Like, do you journal? Do you meditate? What would a daily ritual look like for you as an expert in the field?
I literally wake up and start my day with the sun, journaling, meditation, and self-awareness. And I have so much stuff written on my mirrors. Yeah. So journaling is a massive thing for me. I do that every day. I miss days, but it's an extremely important process of how I cope with my thinking and how I feel about myself. In my journals, I will also write on the bottom of every day that I write, I will say, I am proud of you and I love you. It sounds corny, but honestly, it has literally changed how I think about myself, because I can tell you 10 years ago, I did not love me. And that, just writing that with all the other amazing things I've done, really just signifies how I feel about myself. It's like I remind myself, instead of telling my partner or my family I love them, I make sure that I tell myself that I love me. And it's really helped me.
That's really nice to hear. I do something similar, actually.
Cool.
Yeah,
amazing.
I've got a book at home where it's about each night before I go to bed, there's just a series of statements that aligns with who I am and where I want to be.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a self-love thing. The exercise that I practice is about who you are and who you want to be 10 years from now. So I am the best motivational speaker in Australia. I am strong. I am powerful.
Manifestation.
Whatever it might be, it plays a big role. And there's certainly been, it does on face value seem a bit woo-woo-y, but
do you feel it though? Like I feel it in my soul when I write it.
I actually do.
Yeah.
I actually do.
It takes time to feel like that, but it really does.
It takes
work.
a little bit of time to get the belief. I think. It's like,
exactly.
Okay, I'm on track for this. I'm on track for this. And, you know, a study that I saw years ago that I love is people who write down goals are 42% more likely to reach them.
Yeah.
And a step further than that, if you share that goal or that manifestation with another person, it increases to even further.
I think it's 80%.
I think it is. I think it's 82%.
Yeah.
Which is pretty remarkable. So really good practical advice for anyone listening. That's fantastic. On that, looking ahead to leapfrog into this, what role does mindset play in women and men in general, I guess, achieving long-term consistency with their training around hormonal changes?
I think it's a day-by-day process, honestly, and it's just having that love and patience for yourself. Again, it's around finding the love for yourself and then actually not feeling guilty or feeling pressure to go to the gym, or at least going and knowing you can just be in the corner and do your thing and just know that it's a safe place. I think that's what's really important, is just step by step, accepting that today, okay, I'm not feeling so good, not wallowing in it either, not like being like, oh, woe is me. It's just feel it. Okay, cool. I'm not 100% today. I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to go for a walk, going to do yoga, and I'm going to just keep moving every day. I think because you've got to move. If we just get sorry for ourselves, it just gets worse and worse. You've got to keep moving.
So with the work that you do, can you give us a bit of a run through of what a typical session, series, structure, program looks like with you? Mindful there's a lot involved, so if you can try and condense it for the listeners to get a bit of an insight into what it's like working with you.
So I'm a rapid transformational therapist, and for short that means RTT therapist. The lady that created this, Marissa Peer, came up with this incredible concept of putting many different things together, all types of different therapy, including hypnosis, and bringing them together into one. I'm not going to go into the detail about all of that. Anyone that ever wants to know, I can give more. But the basis of it is we have a chat, we figure out what you really want to focus on and remove out of your life the most, whether it's a bad habit, it's a thought process you have, OCD, menstrual pain, which is what I really want to focus on, but addictions, anything. And what we do is we hone down on why. Why do you have that? Through that, we go into a session for 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Yes, it sounds long, but when you're in it, it feels like 5 minutes. Honestly, it's incredible. So what I work through is where that came from. You go into a deeper self. You go into a REM state where you're completely relaxed, and it helps things come up for you that you never expected to even think of. And I can tell you from my experience, it's exactly what happened for me. And at the beginning of this, I commented from when I was 7, and that's because that experience happened when I was 7. And I never remembered that until I went into hypnosis. And that transformed my life.
Wow.
That moment wasn't huge. So if everyone's thinking, has all these thoughts of what that could possibly be, but it wasn't a massive moment, but it was a real big shift for me in the way I perceive my life and why I ended up in abusive relationships, toxic relationships, not just with men, but in friendships as well. So it was the beginning of the spiral. And what this is about is I'm helping someone right now, literally, that has been completely blind to everything in their life. And they're now just realizing, oh my gosh, I could have a completely different life if I've just dealt with this stuff that happened to me when I was young. It's not always about when you're young, but a lot of the time you don't even remember the trigger. A lot of the time you don't even know what's happened for you. So for me, with my menstrual pain, there's been multiple things, but the biggest thing was I had to feel like I was guarded. I had to be the perfect child all the time. And for me to suffer, I had to do it in silence. But then when I became a teenager, I started to see the attention out of the pain, and it just flips everything. There's so much to unpack, and it's so exciting, and I absolutely love doing it with people, because literally I can't explain how much even just one session can completely change your life.
Yeah, it certainly seems very powerful. On the other side of that coin of women's health is men's health. And as you know, I'm a big advocate for men's health, particularly men's mental health. But what I want to ask is, how can men better support women's wellness, health, and mental health in a way that's really productive and beneficial for women? What can men do that will help?
I think, again, it's more out of my experience, but I'm not pointing fingers at anyone particular, but through my whole life, I was never heard until the last couple of years, really. And when your partner is so dealing with their own stuff, male or female, honestly, but if we're going to just talk about males, men are so much more guarded than women. Men don't talk about their experiences, their emotions, anywhere near like women do. And that's actually okay, and that's normal, because we are completely different beings, our hormones and everything. The whole reason women are on this earth is to produce babies. So we have to be nurturing. We have to be all these open-minded things. But for men, it's so important. If they want to have a good relationship with their partner, like a genuine relationship, they have to be vulnerable. They have to say how they feel. And I'm in that now, and it's like the most incredible thing I could never have imagined the relationship that I'm in now. That level of support and patience too. Patience is such a big thing. And just asking your partner, how are you today? How was your day? And listening and not talking over them. I think I said more than one thing there.
No, that's fine. But you know what I'm feeling across the table right now, and I really hope this is translating to the people watching and listening, is, that's such a wonderful point that you've just made. And we've got a women's health advocate and a men's health advocate having a really wholesome, respectful conversation about one another without feeling the need to, women's health will work. No, men's health will work. No, it's not.
No.
It's not this. And it's so refreshing. And I really hope that's coming across, because it's such a privilege to talk to you about this in this context with this level of mutual respect, because it's okay to, I can't tell you how moving it is to hear you say, no, we're different in this day and age.
We are, though. That's the thing. We just need to accept that. Why are we trying to be the same?
We're not.
Like, we don't say a lion and a lioness is the same. They look completely different. So what is the difference? Why do we have to be these like two egos completely battling each other? And that is what I was. That is what he was. Like in multiple of my relationships, I'm not just talking about one, and it wasn't just him, it was me too. I was battling him, I was ticking him off, I was trying to get this thing going. As soon as you do the work, it will change who you attract. You can't expect someone to change and not change yourself. Jenna, and if you want them to change...
It's such a credit to your...
I'm going to get teary in a minute.
Your self-awareness, and that's not where I want this to go. That's not what that was about. I just want to highlight. I just want to highlight like that. This energy that's being exchanged of someone that's so pro women's health and someone who's so pro men's health, with such a mutual respect for both individual cases, is truly something that I feel very privileged to be a part of here tonight, and I really hope that it's translating. So I want to thank you for that. It's really refreshing and wonderful to hear that. All the points that you've made and the things that you've said tonight have just been, it's really profound, and I'm very grateful.
I just think we need to be a team. Like,
we're stronger together.
Why are we trying to battle each other, and why are men and women, like, let's just accept that we are different and stop battling each other to be something else. Just be you. And again, I know I keep talking about my partner, but this is literally life-changing for me, because I had left someone. I was doing a lot of work. I left that person just because I was not in the right relationship. And after I did all that work, comes this amazing man a few months later, which I did not plan or want. And you just got to find the right person for you that you can connect with. It's not impossible. You have to do the work, and then that person just comes to you. And I never believed that. And I had someone recently that doesn't even know what it feels like to be loved. She doesn't even know. She doesn't even know how it is that feeling of someone hugging you and feeling truly loved. And I want every single person to feel like that, because it's possible for everyone.
Well, it's a privilege to watch this transformation that you've had. I want to deep breaths. We don't need to go that far. That's not what this podcast is about. All right, that was good. Okay, I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire questions. This is going to be a little bit lighthearted and fun. Think of a game show. Okay?
I'm not good at trivia.
It's not trivia. Okay. Don't worry. So if you can, try and keep your answers condensed to 10 seconds. All right. So imagine this.
Have you met me?
We're on.
It's okay.
We're on
I like
sale
a
at
challenge.
Accenture or something.
I love a
Larry
challenge.
Emder's in the background somewhere. Okay, rapid fire questions. What's one myth about women's training and health you wish would disappear forever?
That we have to do cardio every single day.
What's your go-to mantra or affirmation for when you're having a day off?
You're still sexy.
What's the one thing you wish every woman knew about her own body?
Oh my God, so many. I think just because of the subject line, honestly, menstrual health.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
So many though, but we'll stick to that one.
What's the one thing you wish every man knew about a woman's body? Keep it PG.
Damn it. Okay. Aside from that, I wish that men knew when a woman was ovulating.
What's the one thing you wish every woman knew about a man's body?
Oh, that is great, Adam. A man's posture.
Expand on that.
So many men have kyphosis. So many men are hunched over because of their self-esteem. If women could read men better, same with women, honestly, but you can tell how mentally healthy a man is by the way he's standing.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
The next question is probably the most important question you're ever going to be asked in your life. And I don't say that lightly.
Oh my God.
And following on from a lot of what we've discussed today, I'm really excited to hear your answer. Are you ready?
Sure.
Why?
Oh, yes. What an amazing question. I have to answer that in 10 seconds?
You can expand a little bit more than 10 seconds.
My whole life, I never felt like I was enough. That I always felt like I had to prove something. And, you know, we've known each other a long time. I did a lot of that in school. I want to help young women especially with this specific question because I don't want them to waste as much time as I did. As much as my journey was amazing finding my why, but I just really want to inspire women to connect with themselves and feel strong in themselves much, much sooner and not put up with anything that they do not deserve.
Really good answer. Jenna, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you for making the trip down here to do this. Where can my listeners learn more about your work or connect with you?
First of all, it's been so exciting. Absolutely love this. So fun. So I have website, social media. If you just search Ignite by Jenna, you'll find my website. You can search it on Google. You can search it through socials and you'll find everything you need to get in contact with me.
Awesome. We'll put the link in the description below if you'd like to connect with Jenna and work with her. Jenna, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you so much for braving the weather and coming down. It's so wonderful to have you on. I want to ask this one final question. If you can leave us with one final message that will leave the female listeners with something that will benefit their health, well-being, and mindset, what would it be?
It sounds a little bit corny, but be kind to yourself. It's like an overarching comment, but it's literally if you aren't stressed, if you're not beating yourself up, if you're not feeling guilt, you will be healthy. So look after yourself, you're number one, and just appreciate who you are and eat and exercise and do what you want to do without feeling like it's what everyone else is doing, and just do what you want to be doing and be kind to yourself, because that is something I'm very good at now and I sure was not in the past.
It's a beautiful message. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. That's a wrap, everyone. Thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you next time on the Black Label Mindset.